All right, everyone, you may have heard of Corey Stewart. He's running for the Senate against Tim Kaine. Tim Kaine is heavily, slated to win in the Virginia race here. But Corey Stewart is saying that one of his staffers, that his home, while he wasn't personally there, a house guest was broken into by a reporter from the New York Times named Stephanie Saul. That's the allegation. It's not being reported much by the mainstream media. You have to go to like the smaller sites, like this is from the Virginian Post, like PJ Media and a few others. Like I think Breitbart reported on it, and that's about it, as far as even the missing link media sites. So it's basically a local and regional thing. Apparently, the allegation is there was a house guest named Amber Fincham. She's the one saying this happened. She was there. She claims she was like showering, and she sort of like gets done, turns around, I guess after brushing her teeth or something. Stephanie Saul is standing there in the doorway inside the home, and she's like, "Oh, I didn't let you in. What the fuck?" And then she gave her basically a note. It's like, "Oh, get Landrum to call me," the part-time staffer for Corey Stewart's campaign. That basically somehow she entered the premises. She had to have broken in specifically, like jiggered the lock or something, because she wasn't allowed in and it was, not open or something at the time. Apparently, the other part of this allegation stems from the fact that the building itself is a secure building. That is, that you have to, get someone to buzz you in. It's, one of those places. It's got that extra layer of security. So at the very least, she did provably get past that. There's no evidence, I guess, that she was buzzed in by Miss Fincham. She happened to be there, I guess, house-sitting while Landrum was away, probably campaigning. So Corey Stewart is enraged, and he's like, well, basically, this is Tim Kaine's slimy people trying to disrupt our campaign. They're trying to do the yellow journalism thing. I guess the concept is that probably Stephanie Saul was going to break in and snoop around to try to do some muckraking. Didn't realize there was a house guest there, and then, sort of covered up. "Oh, yeah, I just wanted to talk to Landrum. Here's a note. Don't worry." Now, the New York Times, without any proof of this, because, of course, the New York Times was not itself present at the time, they've got Saul's word only to take on this. Their allegation is, no, that never happened. She basically knocked on the door, gave, Miss Fincham the note, and then left. She never entered the premises. She didn't break and enter. She was never inside of the home. We don't know what you're talking about. Who else can vouch for that other than Saul herself? There were only two people physically present. Now, if there are any cameras around, they might be able to get the sort of true story. But still, it's pretty funny. It's a weird scenario. It's like I'm scratching my head trying to think why Corey Stewart's people would invent such a story. Because it wouldn't look good. Like, that's not the reason why Corey Stewart wants to be in the news because Tim Kaine trips and falls down the stairs. It's like, well, maybe his opponent is healthier. That's why he wants to be in the news. Or because he's ahead in polling. Or because he made a really good speech. He doesn't want to be in the news because his fucking staffer had to tangle with the New York Times. So I'm going to generally assume that probably what ended up happening is Stephanie Saul did enter the premises without permission. Didn't realize there was somebody there when she did, and then covered it up by saying, "Oh yeah, and I'm from the New York Times, sorry about that, here, have him call me," and was hoping it wouldn't become a major incident. The problem, of course, being if you don't have footage, it's a he said, she said sort of situation. You're never going to be able to prove that. But the New York Times does weird shit like that. All of the legacy media people do. And it used to be like 100 years ago, they literally broke in and entered premises all the time to do muckraking. Like, it was normal practice. They don't do that as much now, I think, because now we have less gun control, probably afraid of getting a reporter shot, in all honesty. You're in Virginia. I believe Virginia is a stand-your-ground state. That could be a dangerous thing to do, I believe. I think it's de facto stand your ground, if I remember correctly. But isn't it a little bit weird? Like, this shouldn't even be a story. Like, somebody's lying. Either a New York Times Pulitzer Prize winning employee broke into a Senate campaigner staffer's home, or the staffer is like full of shit and the house guest is in on some weird joke to try to lie about the New York Times for ratings or something. So either way, it's like weird. But having tangled with the legacy media personally, BuzzFeed and the Wall Street Journal have both name-dropped me in hit pieces that are not even true. Yeah, the legacy media lies. It happens all the time. They provably do on a constant basis with regards to the alt media, so why not some Trumpite populist candidate trying to unseat Tim Kaine? It's going to be fairly obvious who the New York Times is going to support Tim Kaine. Was Hillary Clinton's running mate. He's a relatively powerful Democrat, maybe not on the top tier, but at least close to the top of the second tier. He's a second-rung Democrat, you could call him, along with McCaskill, who might get knocked off in the midterms, by the way. I think it'd be great if Tim Kaine were out in the Senate. It's just I don't think that's likely. He's got more name recognition. He's got more money, certainly the backing of the entire media, apparently, so it's going to be kind of obvious who probably ends up winning. I hope Trump talks about this, though. This could become a significant midterm issue. Oh, the New York slimes are now trying to break into the homes of people that are associated with me to try to dig up dirt on them because the legacy media, the fake news always lies, and they can't attack us normally because we're better than our opponents. And Tim Kaine is a sleazebag. He should come out and do that. Make this a national issue. I guarantee it would gain some momentum. And it would probably help Corey Stewart to get it national exposure. Right now, it's primarily local, regional, and further right reporting, like a Breitbart. That's basically as much as it's gotten. So it's a weird story. We're going to have to pay attention as it develops a little further, because at the moment, it's he said, she said. I want to see, like, security footage of Saul, like, jiggling the front door or, you know, getting through the buzzer somehow. I want to see footage of that before I maybe crucify her as a person. But it wouldn't surprise me, because the New York Times is one of these rag publications that is slowly devolving into a tabloid, which means that they need more sensationalism. How do you get it? You go digging through people's dirty laundry, in the most literal sense. That's about all. Peace out.